Hi there. Good morning to you. You're welcome to Newsroom here on GHOne TV. I am Mohammed. Coming up within the hour, Supreme Court declares delegate system used by political parties as unconstitutional and has ordered all political parties to ensure all their registered members participate in the selection of presidential and parliamentary candidates. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has also upheld the OSP's prosecutorial powers, but says the Attorney General reserves the exclusive rights to terminate such cases. Also in this belt, crunch meeting currently underway at the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission following the nationwide outage that happened earlier this morning, as it assures efforts are underway to restore power to the national grid. In business, vendors in Sunyani back calls for Styrofoam ban, but urge cheaper, eco-friendly packaging before the 2027 deadline. And later on the international front, Israeli Prime Minister holds first meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump since the start of the war with Iran. We have details of these and many others all within the hour. Stay with me. Once again, I am Mohammed. The Supreme Court, by a 5-2 majority decision, has declared the delegate system used by political parties for the selection of presidential and parliamentary candidates as unconstitutional. The 7-member panel, chaired by Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni, has ordered all political parties to ensure all their registered members participate in such internal elections. The court further ordered the parties to take steps to rectify the anomaly within a year from the date of judgment, while the full reasoning for the 5-2 majority decision will be made available by August 5, 2026. That's next week. The action was initiated by 3 senior citizens, that's Professor Frimpong Boateng, Dr. GHOne Tamaklo, and Dr. Christine Amwako Nyama. In a separate matter, the Supreme Court unanimously affirmed the prosecutorial mandate of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Despite affirming its mandate, the Apex Court held that the Attorney General still retains exclusive prosecutorial authority, including the power to terminate prosecutions initiated by the OSP. Let's find out more from our our legal affairs correspondent. Well, interestingly, I have our parliamentary affairs correspondent in the studio. So, our legal affairs correspondent is Mutala Inusa. I start with the 5-2 decision on the presidential and parliamentary delegate system. Then I'll come to the OSP. Captain, what more can you share with us at this time? Captain, I'm asking if you can hear me. What more can you share with us at this time?
So, Lily, if you come to the Supreme Court today, a 7-member panel of the Supreme Court, like you rightly mentioned, presided over by Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni, has made a declaration, a 5-2 majority. If you look at the decision, in fact, this case was initiated by 3 senior citizens, Professor Frimpong Boateng, Dr. GHOne Tamaklo, and Dr. Christine Amwako Nyama. Essentially, they are saying that, look, the manner in which the political parties, and they name the NDC, the NPP, the CPP, the Electoral Commission, and the Attorney General as the parties in this particular matter. And what the Apex Court has done is that with Justice Samuel Esiedu and Justice Ernest Gao dissenting, the remaining 5 judges believe that the current system flies in the face of Article 55 and its related provisions of the 1992 Constitution, essentially saying that, look, where parties will select few people to determine the fate for many by way of selecting the presidential candidate and also parliamentary candidates, the court believes that that is unconstitutional at this particular point in time. What the court is ordering is that a year from now, all the political parties will have to ensure that they put measures in place so that next delegate election that they will do in relation to selecting a political presidential candidate, and of course also a parliamentary candidate, all registered voters, and place emphasis on all registered voters, persons who have registered are deemed as persons in good standing in the books of all the political parties, are entitled or are required to vote, not selected few. So this is the decision that the Supreme Court has said. The Electoral Commission is to take steps to ensure that these orders that have been given by the court, or these orders given by the court, are complied with, including political parties who were not mentioned or named in this particular action that has been filed at the Apex Court. So essentially, the Supreme Court has now been clear. But of course, the parties have been asking questions: who is going to pay for this particular issues, this particular system that have been brought in relation to the selection of a presidential and parliamentary candidate? But we'll be interrogating matters as and when the times come. But what is clear is that the Supreme Court said that the previous ways of selecting presidential and parliamentary candidates, that should be a thing of the past.
Let's talk about the put into finality the prosecutorial powers of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Please update us.
In relation to that matter, we know that there's been that controversy, especially right from April, where the High Court in Accra has made a decision, and that decision was to the effect that prosecutions that have been initiated by the Office of the Special Prosecutor are declared null and void. The AG is to take steps, take over all those cases. Those that it has already secured conviction were declared void. Now, following from that, that is even a separate matter. Legal practitioner Noah Damte also filed a constitutional issue, essentially coming to the Supreme Court for an interpretation. He sued the Attorney General. And what he was seeking essentially was that if you look at Article 88 and its related provisions, it was clear that the Attorney General is the principal legal advisor of the Republic. The Attorney General has the exclusive right of, as it were, initiating and prosecuting cases. If in case a party or an institution needs that prosecutorial powers, it will then go to the AG to ask for prosecutorial powers. And we know that in the current situation, the Ghana Police Service, of course, the GRA, all of them have been given prosecutorial powers, some of them to prosecute cases. So in the context of things, the OSP Act indicates that the OSP has the power to prosecute. At the same time, the law is saying that the Constitution is saying that the Attorney General reserved that exclusive right. So there was that issue of understanding. That was the basis for which Noah Damte came to the Supreme Court. A 7-member panel today, unanimously presided over by the Chief Justice, was of the view that, look, there's no inconsistency between in the act of the OSP and the 1992 Constitution in relation to the prosecutorial mandate. What it means is that the Supreme Court is affirming the prosecutorial mandate of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. All cases that the OSP has initiated, the Supreme Court is saying that are right. All convictions that the OSP has secured, the Supreme Court has endorsed it, that it is in order. Freezing of account and processes that the OSP has done earlier, the Supreme Court is saying that they are right per the OSP Act. They are also right per the 1992 Constitution that gives the power to the Attorney General to decide who to prosecute. But one thing that the Supreme Court has been very clear is that the Attorney General reserved that exclusive right to terminate or file a nolle prosequa in cases that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has initiated. So let's say, in respect of the cases that the OSP have initiated, one that I might use as an example is the one involving the former Finance Minister, Ken Oforiatta, which is pending because of this case before the Supreme Court. The Attorney, even though the case has been initiated by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the Attorney General can terminate that particular action at the Supreme Court using the authorization or the powers that the 1992 Constitution has given to the Attorney General. So in effect, in the context of things, the Supreme Court is saying that all cases that the OSP has initiated, all convictions are right in the faces of the laws that we have now. But the Attorney General, which has the final say, reserve the right to terminate those cases at any point in time where it desires so.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Captain. That's Mutala Inusa. He's our legal affairs correspondent. Now, let's engage a Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC, Rashid Tanko Computer via Zoom. Mr. Tanko, thank you very much for joining us. Good morning to you.
Good morning, dear. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. I trust you're doing well too.
Oh, I'm terrific.
Great. For you as the NDC, I know that you've supported aspects of this particular legal challenge of expanding internal party democracy. Does this vindicate your position?
Well, as a political party, the NDC, we had already prepared ourselves towards this. We knew one day it will come to pass that the framers, if you look at the framers of our 1992 Constitution, they envisaged this, that should the parties be able to put their house in order, put their data together, it's proper to allow their members to decide who should be their parliamentary candidate and presidential candidates. Since we are going to present them to the general public to vote for them, it's better the membership of the party should decide who should lead them in each constituency and the nation. I know we tried this in 2015. We're using our biometric membership system to do this similar thing that the Supreme Court has asked us to do. And then we tried it a bit. I bet we didn't, because we didn't have the right equipment and gadgets to put our data together, it gave us hell of trouble. But for now, I can assure you, with the system we are running now, the NDC is ready to implement the directives of the Supreme Court in electing our parliamentary and presidential candidate going forward.
Now, parties have been given a year to put your books in order, for want of a better expression. How feasible is this?
Yes, that's what I'm saying there. You know, currently, we just concluded our branch elections, and we had a data. We use our data, our branch data, to conduct, in fact, very competitive branch elections using our data. So we had the data. Even today, if you want to go implement this decision, we can do it as a party. We are very ready. We have a data, a very nice data that we use
But
Tanko,
will this not be expensive to run? Will this not be expensive?
Well, it's going to be an expensive election. That one day I can't hide you from it. It's going to be it's just going to be like a general election because you know the NDC is now the most attractive political party in Ghana. Our membership, very large membership. If you look at our database, a very large membership. So to organize election of that nature, magnitude, is going to be a very huge tool on us and as a political party. So, but well, it's democracy. I mean, people representation is key, and then we'll take it on board.
Okay, let's look at one of the critical issues of the delegate system, monetization. Do you think this particular ruling and its implementation will then curtail it?
Very well. I mean, I strongly believe the underlying principle behind this ruling is to stop the monetization of our democracy. It's becoming very expensive to conduct parliamentary primaries and presidential primaries. Very, very expensive. And we saw what happened our opponents and MPP, they did theirs in January. And I believe strongly if they hadn't done that and they were to have their presidential primaries with this type of ruling, I don't think the candidate they have here would have won the election. No, they wouldn't have voted for him at all. I mean, because it's not loved by the party membership. If you saw what happened at their constituency election, just ended constituency elections, most of his guys were voted out completely. I mean, so that tells you that without the delegate system, in electing the parliamentary and presidential, you're likely to have the true reflection of the people because you're talking of large numbers. Monetization will be a thing of the past. Anybody who feel like I want to contest, fair enough, you go and test yourself against the party membership instead of few people coming to decide your fate. You spend huge sums of money in becoming a candidate. And then when it comes to the general election, you are virtually empty. And then you go to parliament and you decide now to recoup whatever happened. And that's where it affects the development in the constituencies and all that. So I believe strongly the NDC, in fact, we are the forebears of this. We tried it in 2015, and although our system were not, so we have been in it before, and I strongly believe this time around we'll get it right, and then the right candidates will be elected.
Will this affect your timetable for the selection of your parliamentary candidates and then your presidential candidates as well?
At all. We have not even come out with a timetable for both. It's not on the burner for now.
Okay.
We are currently doing the brand. We have done with it. We're just mopping up some few areas. Then we start the constituencies. Of course, we are expecting by the close of October we should be able to do the constituency. Don't forget, this ruling does not affect the constituency, regional, and national elections. Those ones there, it doesn't affect it. So we continue to use the delegate system to elect our party executives for the constituency, the regional executives, and that of national executive. This one only affects the parliamentary and presidential election, which are national election, of course. And so that's what the ruling is about.
Okay, Tanko, thank you. And that's Rashid Tanko Computer. He is the Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC. Mind you, we tried to engage the NPP. Unfortunately, we were unsuccessful at that. But our head of political desk, he's also a parliamentary affairs correspondent. He joins me in studio. I mean, this is quite a good one for some political parties. I wonder how others will take it, especially for some parties who think that, well, let's restrict it to the delegate system. For you, where you sit, is this good news?
It's been quite interesting, Lily. Initially, the AG was against this particular suit. And then subsequently, the AG's position changed in support of this suit brought at the Supreme Court. And I've seen a post from lawyer Oliver Bakavomao, who was representing these prominent Ghanaians, three of them.
Professor Frimpong Boateng, Dr. Christine Nwako, and then
Dr. Christiana Makunuyama, former education minister herself. Right. Well, the issue is with the costs. And this will be very easy for parties in power. The trouble comes when we talk about parties in opposition. Already I've seen some posts from some elements within the MPP asking these critical questions about the cost. Mind you, we've been trying since 1992 to get state to fund political party activities unsuccessfully, right? As to even the criteria for that funding to be given out is a challenge. Yes, sometimes the argument is that how about you give them resources like vehicles and what have you. But even with that, as a country, we've not been able to come to a conclusive stage that this is how we are going to support political parties. So yes, the cost is a big one. NDC fitted with the idea, as you heard Tanko say. The challenge then was infiltration in their ranks. So some known NPP people were able to register as NDC members, and they took part in the primaries, the presidential primary. Mind you, it was just President Mohammed then going for yes or no. But more than 5% of the party people still voted no. They did some introspection and realized that no, their ranks had been infiltrated. And that's how come they jettisoned that idea into the dustbin. So,
but will this not bring that back?
There's that possibility, but you heard Tanko relate to how robust the current system is. And now that this judgment has come, the parties will guard their registers religiously to ensure that there is no infiltration like what happened in the past. Yes, but I won't be surprised if, for instance, somebody seeks for a review. But I doubt anything can change, especially given the argument from the justices of the Supreme Court that these two elections are national in character. If you choose a parliamentary candidate, eventually, if that person wins, that person will represent the entire constituency in parliament. So once that election is national in character, then make sure every registered party member in good standing is allowed to partake in that decision. Well,
but how do you determine in good standing? Well, you pay your dues.
Okay. Right, you pay your dues. You've not been suspended. There's no any disciplinary action brought against you. Then, once the party makes that determination, then there will be that register that will be used. So each card-bearing member in good standing is allowed to vote. Same with the presidential, because whoever is selected becomes our president. And since 1992, what we've realized is that whoever NDC selects, whoever MPP selects, one of them is automatically our president. So the selection process must reflect the national character in nature. That's what the judgment is seeking to.
Should this have come earlier, let's say before 2024 election? Do you think that it would have altered the number of parliamentary candidates we have now?
Yes, it would have. One. Two, and I'm sure that's the question that will come, but let me just address it, as whether this will impact on MPPs' presidential primaries as held months ago. That's an emphatic no. Okay. This judgment, as it even stands now, it's not effective yet. There is a 1-year moratorium for the parties to put their acts together. And even if there was no moratorium and it was to take immediate effect, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has already been elected as MPP's flag bearer. And as far as the legal principles are concerned, no law, no judgment can come into effect today and take a retrospective effect and affect something that happened yesterday. So those of you asking questions as to whether this will impact on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's candidature, no. He is the MPP flag bearer and he will be for 2028. However, NDC, those who have been testing waters and have been touring and walking, jogging, and jumping, they will have to, they will have to now at least re-strategize. Because if you're looking at a certain number of delegates, if you're now it's been expanded.
Now you have to target everybody.
Most definitely. So your budget will have to be heavier now than what you, as in budget in going to the people. No any other budget.
But we know what they budget
exactly,
for, right?
We know what they budget for. So, yes, to answer you directly as well, relative to the question you posed to Tanku, this will go a long way in attempting to stamp out the monetization of our politics. Attempting underline because the politician will still target a few people.
It's core people.
Exactly. And then influence them and hope that others will come on board. So the targeting will be done. But of course, the magnitude will be different from what we'll vote next.
Is this the biggest reform in since 1992 in our democratic dispensation?
Yes, aside the fact that we needed not to use opaque ballot boxes anymore, and our ballot boxes will have to be transparent. For the Gen Zs, they might not know that at the point after voting, when you drop your thumb-printed ballot paper into the ballot box, you don't see it. It was opaque.
Yeah.
At the point, it was even wooden in nature.
Yeah.
And then it became transparent that whatever you drop must be seen. Yes, this judgment equally has a far-reaching consequence relative to our body politics. Yes.
Okay. Ivy, thank you. I'm wondering how the various members of parliament are reacting to
money. Whatever they are doing to get money, they have to double it because it's not going to be easy.
All right, thank you. That's ahead of political desk parliamentary affairs correspondent. Let's move on and do other stories. The Ghana Grid Company Limited has attributed the nationwide power outage that happened earlier this morning to an unusual system disturbance, a showing of efforts to quickly restore power to the national grid. Now, the sudden shutdown affected critical infrastructure, including traffic lights at major intersections and street lighting along highways, leaving the nation completely dark. In a statement, GHOne announced that a comprehensive technical investigation has begun to determine the exact cause of the system disturbance. There's more in this news desk report.
A major system disturbance on the National Interconnected Transmission System triggered a nationwide power outage in the early hours of today. The power trip affected critical infrastructure, including traffic lights at major intersections and street lighting along highways, leaving the nation completely dark. The sudden shutdown created severe traffic gridlock and heightened safety hazards for both commuters and pedestrians, with motor traffic officers stepping in to direct vehicles manually. Speaking to Star News, Manager of Corporate Communications at the Ghana Grid Company Limited, GridCo, Jifa Bampo, reported progress on ongoing restoration efforts, assuring the public that engineers are working tirelessly to quickly bring total capacity back to the national grid.
I cannot say what caused this. It requires additional investigations to identify what led to this. Because this is an unusual event, it will take some time to bring on the other generating plants, the thermal plants and the other hydro plants, which is BUI. So it's ongoing. Engineers have been working since this happened at 3:11 a.m. It's not the norm. It's not your usual situation. So they've been working hard at it, and given some time, definitely power will be restored, which is why we've tried to work quickly to give information. We will provide additional information as and when it becomes available.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Energy has stepped in, directing all technical teams to expedite the safe synchronization of generating units back onto the grid. The ministry also appealed to consumers, businesses, and essential service providers for calm and patience while technical personnel work to stabilize the power transmission network nationwide.
So there's a crunch meeting currently underway at the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, and subsequent bills will bring you updates on that particular meeting. But let's find out how you have been reacting on social media. Nana Makwa joins me. Nana, what are people saying?
Well, Lily, at around 3 a.m. thereabouts, many people woke up around Ghana to find out their lights and everywhere was totally off. And obviously our administrator at GHOne just simply said, And there are a lot of comments under his post. We start with Champion. Tell us your problem. Who knows? Maybe someone here to help you. We also have Baba. Your proper is on the way. Now this one prelims. We also have Kojo Asari. Dumso Hine is on the throne. We have Dede. I thought it was only Akim Oda. Our next comment from Mohammed. It go reach everybody. You guys are short of words, Abby. We told you guys that the alternative was scary. You never listened. We all day inside. We also have Paul. Doomsaw, don't collect your hand, Abby. Nanakwame asks, has it hit you too? Simon says, I thought my prepaid had finished when I woke up. Nanakwame says, heavy rain plus Doomsaw equals to, Bismarck, Ihado, how person go bath cold water this morning? I tell you, it was very difficult. We also have our next comment. Someone stole the new camera, or why this? We have Junior, it go tear your hand. Our next comment, it's nationwide outage and the weather is cold. How admin go heat water bath to work? It's a very serious issue. Michael, if you make you will die. Oh. Fifi Essien, why? Is chairman released? Please, come back to earth. We are here. We have Ofosuhini. Well, it has been stable these days, so I don't know why it seems a nationwide knockoff. I hope they restore it in its earnest kick life to grind almost every... Okay, so I think he's trying to say that everything will grind to a halt because everything, or lots of things, rely on electricity now. Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park asks, what troubles your heart, my son? Hashtag Hope Day. Nana Slay, we all day inside. I can't even iron my shirt to work. We also have King. Admin did not heat water to shower. Minstrel, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. I think maybe that was his... scripture for the morning. Yao Ketri, make I go buy box iron ASAP. Mahmoud, this early morning you come right, nobody will ask you why. Masa, Obia Yeshe. Boache Daniel, you have not seen anything yet. Juliana Ya says, dear, the country Ghana. Jubilee Ralph says, Mahama Ghana. Then Rita is asking what the meaning of is. Maybe she did not wake up in darkness. We also have Pillow. Light out across the country. Oh, goodness says, thank God my phone and PC is fully charged. At least I can manage them for 2 days. Humble Bongo says, but there is light in Tema this morning. True. You also have Mumuni, God have mercy upon us. And then Remix GH says, Dumso Levy, no wahin, is asking that question. Well, many may ask, what is going on in Ghana? Well, Gridco say they are fixing the issue and they are going to put an investigation into place. But for some people, umuchiguho. My name is Danama Aqua. Lily, back over to you.
Thank you. If you don't have light, wachiguho. Let's engage an energy expert, Engineer Justice Ohini Akotova Zoom. Thank you very much for joining us, Engineer. It's morning. Good morning to you.
Yes. Good morning to you. Good morning to your cherished viewers as well. Yeah.
Now, this morning in Gridco's statement regarding this particular blackout, they call it a power system disturbance. Is it what engineers call a system collapse, or there's a technical name to this, a different technical name to this?
Yes. So I was reading the report. What they are saying basically has to do with, simultaneous tripping of some generating plants, across the national power system. From as a subject matter expert, and from what I'm seeing, I'm just looking at the root cause of a system collapse. Is this something that is an AFLS, what we call automatic frequency load shedding? So what happens within the system is that if you go above, Ghana runs at a frequency of 50 hertz. If you go above the threshold or below the threshold, then you are going to fall into AFLS, the automatic frequency load shedding. And even that can lead to total system collapse. I mean, if it's not managed well. If we're able to manage that well, what GridCo usually do is that take off the bulk loads, like the vehicles, the mines, and then the others to stabilize the system so that we don't have a total system collapse. So, I mean, for now, it's a system collapse, as in the reason why we have the collapse, that is the issue. But it looks like it's something that is emanating from GridCo. I mean, the transmission itself. But how I foresee it is probably there was an automatic frequency load shedding that was not managed well, that resulted into it. So there, we have a total system collapse that we have to quickly work on it to restore it,
Could this be an isolated incident, or there could be deeper things that we need to critically pay attention to?
For me, yes, I think this might be something. Yes, I don't think it's taken us by surprise. We've seen a lot of system collapse earlier. So what I'll point out to has to do with lessons learned, right? Regarding the other system, national system collapse, what were the lessons that we learned from it to prevent, to be more preventative? So what the African Sustainable Energy Center and myself has always been hammering within the Ghana power system is we go in a preventive maintenance rather than being reactive. So if we learn from the lessons from the general collapses that we've had over the years, we shouldn't be finding ourselves into some of these issues. So I foresee this to be something that is preventable, one. And even if it was a circumstance beyond our control, the restoration time is been too much. Usually, if you have a system that you build to be very resilient, and then you have a system that is beyond your control, that knocks off the system, you should be very quickly responsive to be able to bring the system back online. So yes, I would call this, we were not preventative enough. I mean, we are just being reactional. And then it comes back to the resilience of the grid. We had a collapse. How many seconds? It should be taking seconds. We should be taking less than minutes to restore the system. So this is where the work has to go within the GridCo and then the various the various power sectors. So GridCo should be able to give us a deep dive of what happened and also give us a roadmap that in the future, if it happens, what is going to be the response? Because having power outages for long hours is totally unacceptable.
Now, GridCo says investigations are underway. Should the public expect a full technical report, or this should stay within the energy value chain?
No, GridCo should be very transparent to us. They should tell us exactly what went on, what was the issue, and then they shouldn't end there. They should give us a roadmap. In the future, what is going to be the preventative measure to this so that we don't be reactional. And even at the expense of a natural disaster or anything that was uncontrollable, they should also give us a restoration mechanism. That in the case, we find ourselves into some of this issue, that we are not able to contain it, and then it still happens, what is going to be the restoration path way forward, so that at least we don't have some of this happening. They need to show us that we have learned our lessons. This has been happening for several times, and it happening again is totally unacceptable. They have to be accountable, transparent, and give us a roadmap that we are not going to fall into this again.
Okay. For us as a country, we know that Ghana has invested heavily in the energy sector, but does this expose the fact that we have not invested enough resources, especially when it comes to GridCo's transmission?
So when it comes to the energy sector, right, we have something called power system reliability and planning. And in power system reliability and planning, we have adequacy and reliability. When it comes to adequacy, we are looking at, does our demand meet the capacity? Which is yes. So we don't have an issue over there. Then it comes to reliability. You have this demand, you have the capacity to meet the demand. How reliable is it? So this is where we are lacking. That, I mean, we've been calling strongly that there has to be more investment into the grid. That is one. The second one is, I believe we have to be innovative. We have to be innovative. Some of the things that they have to do, yes, I'm not rocket science. The engineers and then the workers, we have to be innovative. The resources that we have now, how can we maintain it to make it to make the system robust?
Right.
That is what we have to be looking at. And then most of the time we put most of the issues into funding, but it doesn't just end there. Our GHOne should be more innovative. That is what I think.
Okay, Engineer, thank you for speaking to us. That's Engineer Justice Ohene Akoto. He is an energy expert there. Let's move on and touch on other issues. The National Union of Ghana Students is demanding an immediate investigation into the alleged assault of students of the Techiman Krobo Nursing Training College by officers of the Ghana Police Service during a campus protest. The incident occurred on July 27, 2026, when trainees took to the streets to protest what they described as deteriorating welfare conditions on campus. In a statement signed by its president, Rashid Ibrahim, NUGS expressed grave concern over the incident, saying the trainees resorted to the protest after management repeatedly failed to address their legitimate grievances. According to the union, the demonstration was triggered by long-standing welfare challenges, including poor feeding and sanitary conditions, and a breakdown in communication between the college management and the Student Representative Council. NUGS has condemned the alleged use of force by the police, describing it as unacceptable and calling for full investigation and accountability for those responsible. In subsequent belts, we will engage the leadership of NUGS. Now, to a rather unfortunate news, information gathered by GHOne indicates that armed robbers have attacked Glory Oil Filling Station at Echiamamfrom in the Eastern region, assaulting the station manager and firing gunshots at the facility during the robbery. According to the public relations officer of Glory Filling Station, Donatus Peter, who spoke on GHOne this morning, the men were armed with 2 cutlasses and an AK-47 rifle. The armed men attacked and physically assaulted the station manager before demanding that he hand over all the money at the station. However, the manager told them there was no money available, which angered the robbers. They then fired several gunshots, hitting one of the fuel tanks and parts of the station walls before fleeing the scene. The PRA noted that this was not the first time Glory Filling Station had been targeted by armed robbers. Officers from the Ghana Police Service later arrived at the scene to assess the situation and begin investigations into the incident. A disturbing new allegation has emerged from Ghana's fight against human trafficking. Challenging Heights says that some rescued Nigerian girls have given consistent accounts of a suspected cross-border baby harvesting and baby selling network operating between Ghana and Nigeria. It comes as Challenging Heights reveals that 144 trafficking victims have been rescued in the first half of 2026 alone. Here's a report by Peter Kwao Adato.
Behind every trafficking statistics is a human story, a child separated from a family. A young woman deceived by promises of work. And according to new account presented by Challenging Heights, women allegedly brought into Ghana are forced into pregnancy and held until they give birth. The organization says the babies are then allegedly sold. Challenging Heights has not independently verified the accounts, but it says several survivors have provided consistent accounts that raise serious concerns about a possible organized baby harvesting and baby selling network.
Girls from Nigeria were brought to Ghana, forced to become pregnant, and helped to have the babies, and the babies are harvested for sale.
A Nigerian teenager who had spent about 11 months in Ghana was rescued carrying a 2-week-old baby. According to Challenging Heights, she told the organization that the woman who held her had attempted to sell her child.
We are calling on the state agencies, especially the Ghana Police Service, GHOne, to engage in a coordinated investigation in these allegations.
Challenging Heights says it supported the rescue of 144 victims in the first 6 months of 2026, working with the anti-human trafficking unit of the Ghana Police Service and other partners. 42 were children rescued from forced labor on Volta Lake, including 19 boys and 23 girls. Another 102 were Nigerian nationals, including 60 girls and 42 boys, aged between 13 and 29. Some children were forced into fishing on Volta Lake. Others were trapped in cyber-related criminal activities. The Nigerian girls were mostly into commercial sex exploitation, including in mining communities such as Obuasi and part of the Upper East region. These unsuspecting victims are often lured with promises of decent jobs in shops, restaurants, and supermarkets, only to be exploited after arriving in Ghana.
We want to caution the public that any one of us can become a victim of trafficking, and that we must report trafficking cases to the law enforcement agencies immediately we are threatened.
The organization is proposing a minimum allocation of 20 million cedis to strengthen prevention, investigation, and prosecution.
At this point, we want to commend the anti-human trafficking unit of the Ghana Police Service, who, despite their limited resources, have been consistent and committed in addressing human trafficking issues in this country. We also want to commend the Human Trafficking Secretariat of the Ministry of Gender for working tirelessly to address the human trafficking issue despite limited resources.
As the world marks World Day Against Trafficking in Persons on July 30, Challenging Heights says the question now is not whether trafficking exists. It is whether Ghana and Nigeria will act quickly enough to uncover the networks operating across their borders and protect those still at risk. Peter Kwao Adator's report for GHOne News.
Well, reacting to this on News Tonight, the Executive Director of Partners in Community Development, George Achibra, urged security agencies and other relevant authorities to conduct thorough investigations into the allegations of suspected cross-border baby harvesting operations.
Trafficking and its kind of ugly heads is all over, and it has become a canker that we are fighting all over in this world. And I think Ghana is not exception from whatever we are seeing. And having looked at this kind of a painful and a disturbing news, I think we must have a walk through it and look at it from that ugly point for us to fight it completely. It tells that they have a different kind of mind, and their understanding towards it must be well investigated, because all along we are looking at child trafficking, and the underlying factor goes by exploitation, some by labor and abuse. But if we have gotten to this level where we are harvesting, then it means it is moving towards ritualists. And also they have a purpose towards it, which of course we need to look at it and carefully do much investigation to get this thing out of our system. If we are thinking very well, I don't see why people will be harvesting babies at these early stages. If it is even normal, then we go for adoption and other relative ones, those who wants children to take care of. But if they are looking at it from these early stages, then it brings about questioning, and we must look at it from all angles and understand we have all the institutions that are mainly mandated to work on, from YOCO to anti-human trafficking, Ghana Police to immigration, what have you, even Department of Social Welfare and traditionalists, even opinion leaders within our sector must have a very a great mind for us to look at it holistically and see what we can.
Now, the Youth Employment Agency, YEA, through its labor exchange program, has launched a nationwide awareness campaign aimed at preparing young Ghanaians for safe, regular and ethical international employment. The campaign officially marks the beginning of an extensive outreach program that will be rolled out across all 16 regions and 276 metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, with the goal of educating prospective migrant workers on legitimate pathways to overseas employment while discouraging irregular migration. My colleague Benedict Wiafi has more.
The initiative is part of the Youth Employment Agency's efforts to expand job opportunities for young people by linking them to credible overseas employment through safe, structured, and regulated recruitment pathways. Speaking at the launch, Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment, Abdul Rashid Peblo, stressed the need for prospective migrant workers to be adequately informed before taking up jobs abroad. He said safe migration is essential to protecting Ghanaians from exploitation, human trafficking, and fraudulent recruitment schemes.
The Youth Empowerment Program, the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, alongside with the agency, Youth Employment Agency, committed to seeking jobs abroad and preparing young people to go by this process of regulated ways by sending them out of the country. These opportunities must be pursued responsibly. Labour migration must be guided by transparent recruitment systems, fair employment practices, and strong protection of workers' rights.
Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, George Opari Addo, urged young people to take advantage of the labor exchange program, describing it as a credible pathway to secure decent employment opportunities abroad.
The challenge is not a desire to work abroad. If anybody wants to work abroad, I heard the CEO say that nobody knows where your lights will shine. And so we should be able to create an enabling environment for our young people who want to migrate legally to travel.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Youth Employment Agency, Malik Basentali, says the outreach campaign is expected to reach thousands of young people nationwide.
The Labor Exchange Program has worked closely with young people, employers, and our partners to create safe and regular pathways to international employment. Along this journey, we've learned some important lessons. We've seen the many young people aspire to work abroad, but are not technically prepared for the opportunities available.
The nationwide campaign will equip participants with information on ethical recruitment practices, workers' rights, legal migration processes, and the support services available under the Labour Exchange Program.
Let's bring you the latest in business.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana. Passion for tech.
Minister for Finance has withdrawn and reintroduced the amended Cocoa Board Bill under a certificate of urgency, despite strong objections from the minority in Parliament. The proposed legislation seeks to establish a new financing model for the purchase and sale of cocoa beans, while guaranteeing cocoa farmers at least 70% of the free on board, that's the FOB price. It also aims to address operational bottlenecks within the Ghana Cocoa Board. However, the minority has rejected the move, questioning both the substance of the bill and the decision to fast-track it under a certificate of urgency. Deputy Minority Whip Habib Idrisu challenged a justification for the expedited process.
To withdraw the Cocoa Board bill that was laid sometime last week. And Mr. Speaker, as leader indicated, the committee has done extensive work on it. And so we will want to withdraw and lay the one that has incorporated a lot of views from our friends on the other side and everybody, so we can attend to it expeditiously. Another reason why we need to do this also is the fact that we need to lay it under certificate of urgency. And so once we get a leave, we can lay it and make the appropriate request.
The amendment so proposed in withdrawing the bill can be incorporated into the committee report. If it is the case that you are going to withdraw and relay because you seek to do under certificate of agency, say so for the records. But it cannot be the case. The second reason you gave with regards to laying it under certificate of agency, you have not given us any reason. And what is agent about that bill? What is agent about it?
Habib, on this occasion, you are out of order. It is only upon the introduction of the bill that the request for the bill to be considered under certificate of agency is made. But at the point of withdrawal of a bill, there cannot be any request for laying under certificate of agency. We are at the point of withdrawal. We are not at the point of laying. So, honourable members, the Cocoa Board bill, yes.
Mr. Speaker, the minister is not satisfying Order 159 and Order 160. And, Mr. Speaker, it cannot just be the case that he is laying it, we are referring it to the committee under certificate of agency. Mr. Speaker, it cannot be. He did not.
Honorable Habib, at this point, the bill is being withdrawn. What we are talking about has got to do with laying. That's why I'm saying you are out of order.
Now, with just months to go before Ghana's nationwide ban on styrofoam food containers, many traders and food vendors say they support efforts to protect the environment, but they warn the cost of eco-friendly alternatives could hurt their businesses and consumers alike. They're calling on the government to make biodegradable packaging more affordable before the January 2027 deadline.
From busy chop bars to roadside food joints, Styrofoam takeaway packs remain the preferred choice for serving thousands of customers every day. But that is expected to change. Following a directive by President John Dramani Mahama, the production, importation, and use of Styrofoam food containers will be banned nationwide from January 1st, 2027 as part of efforts to reduce plastic pollution and protect the environment. The Environmental Protection Authority says discarded Styrofoam is one of the major contributors to choked drains, flooding, and environmental degradation. Although awareness of the impending ban is growing, traders say one major challenge remains the cost of the alternatives.
Yate ho asem say if January ko oyi takeaway bowls eye plastic one we no every system ni mo ene rubber one no eye se be boy ya ho den na ene ne be boy ya eye so o mampani eye sa na pipa one we no o se ye nyusu no na ene be ya maye ne board den pipa one no we say mako 50 obeto ni 200 cedis we so eye mako 100 but only now 45 more ye we no omo nte so maye.
Retailers say biodegradable paper packs cost significantly more than Styrofoam, making them difficult for small businesses to stock.
Ebe affect ye bebre che say ebe ma edumadi na kofom because nipa ne ba na ontimi afford we na oka kire ne say we bi ni ho a obekọ na nipa nso dumadi okwakodji no ebe ma they
fear the additional cost will eventually be transferred to customers many of whom are already struggling with the rising cost of living.
Kakra American farm concerning takeaway booths ne Roberts no mo say yenja yisuning na. Oh yeah, you turn it you okay, but sometimes customer na oba beto no obu wo ho a na ne sika sem ne nema bi eno nti ka ho ne ya ma use black one na say rubber ones no but a thousand so say ibeja politin e ba so so be makrum so e den ai neat kakra.
Food vendors share similar concerns.
Rubber na mo de oba ne de nke ye na ne bo no ne dada ne de ye pede a nke be boy because oni na anye pede na ko ba se ono ne bo de chenwe a aduan no ye hu se ne be si ate no ayen se yeto aduan no aduan so na yetu so anwa muni ne to ba ye basa anti esremo.
Despite their concerns, many vendors say they understand the environmental reasons behind the ban and are prepared to comply. However, they are urging the government to support the transition by making eco-friendly packaging affordable and readily available before enforcement begins.
Concerning this Roberts no mu year film ne de ebeboa ana me bo aban so eden me bo mabaso pa say omoye ni say no omoye ni say nso ebeboa makrum ai neat eno me ho ne hia me kese polite ne de uja to okra mfama be den bit me den apagya na ko baabi nti eno ne de me ne aban eya adwen ba ne hia ne say customers nso be den nso be ti ase ama say ni no mo nso eja.
As Ghana moves toward eliminating styrofoam, the challenge will be balancing environmental protection with the economic realities facing thousands of small businesses. For many traders, the success of the policy will depend not only on enforcement, but on whether sustainable alternatives become accessible and affordable for everyone. Kwesi Magina's report for GHOne News.
That's it for the business brief. Up next is the latest in entertainment.
The business brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
Now, Ghanaian dancer and content creator GHOne has achieved another career milestone after featuring in the highly anticipated Hollywood film and Bone. The movie, adapted from Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi, brings the magical kingdom of Osha to life with a star-studded cast and acclaimed production team. And GHOne's appearance in the film marks a significant step in her international career, underscoring the growing global recognition of African creative talent. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the White House for his first in-person talks with President Donald Trump since the Iran war began, as the U.S. military reported it had intercepted multiple missiles launched by Tehran. The closed-door talks, which the White House described as positive and productive, lasted for about an hour and a half, and as Netanyahu and Trump sought to patch over public disagreements on the war. Netanyahu said in a video message after the meeting that it was one of the best conversations he has ever had with the President of the United States, and that it touched a common goal, which is ensuring that Iran does not obtain nuclear weapons. And that's it for the news. I am Lily Mohammed. Have a great day.